Over the past 365 days, if all you did was bet Kevin Dolan's boxing selections, you would be up plus 40% in profit. If you purchased Kevin's weekly boxing card, it would cost you $1,300 over the course of a calendar year. But for a limited time, we've slashed all that down to $199, saving you over $1,100.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com with another Stoppage Time edition. This is the Euro 2020 edition. We are smack dab in the middle of Euros. Some absolutely fantastic games have gone on thus far in the tournament, and a lot of very good fixtures coming up, including two of them today. We're going to discuss three games on the show: France, Germany, which goes today; Turkey, Wales, which goes tomorrow; and a big game on Thursday, Belgium and Denmark. With me to discuss from WagerTalk.com, it is Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan, and from SportsMemo, none other than Pavlos Laguretos. Let's bring him in. Kevin Dolan, how you doing, my friend? You've got something big happening today. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, big 5% loaded up for today, Carmine. Excited about that. Obviously, our last 5% was on Denmark, which I think everyone knows at this stage what happened in that game. So, yeah, great time to bounce back. And thankfully, got rid of that ghost since Thursday's show as well. Had to get the priest in to do a bit of an exorcism. So, yeah, all good and ready to roll.
Nick Borrman, we're into the Euros and running some actually fantastic games. Two big ones today. There is no 9 a.m. Eastern game today, but a couple big games today, and you have a big play as well.
Yes, I also have a 5% going today. It's been a good start so far to the Euros and Copa, up 13% so far in the first couple of days. So hoping to continue that into today and into the future. And I'm excited to watch today's games. This is the group that we all have our eyes on, the group of death, and see which one of these big three teams can really separate themselves. But I think it'll be a lot of close, hard-fought games. But anyway, looking forward to talking to the games with you guys today.
It is definitely the group of death with France, Germany, and Portugal. Speaking of death, this man is the Grim Reaper of exact scores. He is killing books. Let's bring him in. Pavlos Laguretos. Pavlos, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. And I'm wondering, why are you fading Hungary? Isn't Hungary one of the four teams? I mean, maybe the group of death starts with a death in the early match. Who knows? Anyway, it's been a pretty exciting tournament so far. Not many plays have gone our way, but we're still hitting a lot of props, and we're still looking to continue in the following days. I have a 5% side bet for tomorrow and a 3-pack for today. So it's a really exciting season.
All right, good to hear. And before we head into the first game, all three guys right now have 5% plays up, which are $35 a play. You can actually use coupon code Italy40. Italy40 is the coupon code, and you can get $40 off their complete Euro packages, which also include plays from Copa America as well too, and I believe the Gold Cup. That package normally goes for $199. You can get it for $159, which is a pretty good deal when you consider the 5% play in itself is just $35. And these guys are going to have some other big plays throughout the tournament and plays up daily. So pick up that tournament package at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo on their capper pages. All right, boys, let's get right to it. France, Germany. This is the afternoon game that goes today. Big one from Munich, Germany. France is 162 plus 162. The draw is plus 220. Germany is plus 175. The total in this game is a split line of 2 and 2.5, which is 2.25 goals. Pavlos, I'm going to come right back to you first on this one. This one's a huge one, and it's only match day one in this group. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I love this game. This is one of the matches that I'd rather prefer to watch rather than bet on it. I still have a couple of plays on it, but just a couple of small stake bets. France, they are the favorites to win the tournament. I think they'll make a deep run, and they're gonna start with hopefully with a a nice performance against Germany, who they are refreshing their squad. But we've said it in previous editions of Stoppage Time. I don't really trust the absence of a good forward in the ranks. They have a lot of players who can fill in that spot, but no one is a true striker. Like a Benzema or a Giroud type of player. They still have a lot of players who can fill the gap, but that's always concerning, at least for me. And also their defense. They did bring back Mats Hummels, who is a top-class defender, or at least used to be. But with Ginter and Rudiger at the back, that's not the Germany defense that we used to know from back in the day. So I think that France, with Mbappe and Griezmann up front, they're gonna cause some troubles in the in the Germany's defense. But also France, even though they have one of the fullest and deepest rosters in the tournament, I think they have a gap in their center back position with PSG's Kimpembe. I personally don't trust that guy. He's just a tad lower in quality compared to the rest of the squad. But I think we'll see a very open match today, even though France like to take things slow. Both teams have very quick wingers, and I think we'll see a lot of action down both flanks. And we might see a penalty kick here because the referee is Del Cero, and he awarded, I think, one penalty kick every other match this season in all competitions. So I'm looking towards the over 2.5 goals, which I really like. Another way to play this is France to win or draw plus over 1.5 goals. That's a profit that you can make in Bet365, DraftKings, FanDuel, and I think it's a bit more safe here.
Yeah, Nick, he makes some good points, but when I look at this, it ultimately comes to whether Germany's attack can get through that midfield of France, which is a very strong midfield, and then if they get by that midfield, that back line has set themselves up. They were absolutely fantastic in the World Cup. This is a team that was also the finalists in the 2016 Euros, losing in extra time to Portugal. And I look at the Germany team, and it's Joachim Löw's final time managing this team. Hansi Flick will take over after this tournament. And their friendlies, while they lit up Latvia 7-1, a lot of teams have lit up Latvia. I want to look back more at when they play a good defensive team, and their first friendly was against Denmark, finished in a 1-1 draw. And Denmark's a very good defensive team. So they weren't very clinical in that game. I'm not sure, sort of moving forward. Everyone keeps saying this is Timo Werner's tournament to shine, but we've been waiting for Timo to shine all year in domestic league play, and he really hasn't. Thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Germany, they're one of the big name teams that I'm not very high on. Spain was the other one, but it's mostly because of their recent results. I mean, they just have a lack of consistency going on right now, and I think leadership on the team. I mean, a 1-2 loss at home to North Macedonia back in March in World Cup qualifying is inexcusable, to say the least. And then, of course, they had that 6-0 embarrassment against Spain in November. Luckily for them, they have all the games at home, as you guys talked about during this group stage. But I'm more interested, as Pavlos says, as a spectator in this game, to try to get a feel. My pre-tournament inkling is that Germany is going to be the one of the 4 teams. I don't want to leave out Hungary for you, Pavlos, that are going to struggle out of this group. And I'm struggling to pick a side here. I lean towards France just because of what they've shown and what they've been able to actually do with results over the years. But I think more just because of the situation of this game, they're playing each other right away. Portugal's got Hungary, likely to get 3 points and possibly jump ahead here with the lead in the group. Neither of these teams can afford to lose. You lose this game right off the bat, you are going to be chasing the rest of the way. Of course, they won't be out of it, but with only 3 games, one loss can be really detrimental. So I think I'm not going to say contrary to what Pablo said on the total, but I do think it's going to start off slow. I think both teams are going to be very cautious at first. Nobody wants to make that first mistake. I could see this thing going to the break scoreless, 0-0 correct score for the first half is plus 170. Or you could take under 1 goal for the first half, which is a little higher on juice, minus 135 I was seeing last night. Obviously a little safer there in case there is 1 goal, but I do think it's going to be a little cagey to start, a little cautious, a little slower. Once a goal goes in, I think obviously it'll probably open up at that point, but I honestly don't think we'll see it in the first half. I think it'll be not until adjustments are made and after these teams get a read on each other where the second half starts to get a little bit more open in this game. But I think it's going to be slow, guys, to start. I like the under in the first half or a 0-0 correct score.
Yeah, Kev, he makes a good point, and we've seen it in the tournament, and I believe that it applies here in some of the games that we're going to see is the game really doesn't open up until we see the first goal. We saw it in the very first game with Turkey and Italy, and Turkey played a much different game than they would normally play. They sat back, tried to absorb the pressure, keep that scoreless for as long as possible, but the minute the Italian side broke through, in the 50th or 55th minute, somewhere around there, it quickly went from a 1-0 game to eventually a 3-0 final. Same thing here. Sometimes you expect goals from very good teams, but it's not necessarily the case. You go back to that World Cup in France and Belgium, 2 very good teams and 2 teams that can score, and that was a 1-0 scoreline. France scored and just defended absolutely fantastic from that point forward. Thoughts on this game, the total, the side?
Well, I think it is quite interesting, actually, because, this total is currently sitting at 2.25 goals. So that's obviously favouring the under. Yet the price on both teams to score is a reasonably high minus 125. So, that's pretty telling to me there, because that's something you rarely see. Usually both the totals and BTTS markets are usually fairly correlated. So right off the bat, it's almost like the books are hinting at a potential 1-1 scoreline here. And no surprise, that's exactly what the books have up as the shortest price on the board here for correct score as well. I think it's around plus 550. So I think that's a fair enough shout, in all honesty. I do like both teams to score here, despite keeping 4 straight clean sheets over recent games. This French defense, they haven't faced anywhere near the kind of firepower they're going to face here tonight. I know Pavlos has his concerns about that, a dedicated number 9 for Germany. But look, Gnabry, Werner, Gundogan, Havertz, Muller, Sané, going forward, this German offense, any one of those guys can score. It's absolutely loaded with talent. So I think France will be doing very well to keep them out here, all night in Munich. However, another point that Pavlos brought up, where Germany do suffer is in that defense. They've kept just 3 clean sheets over the last 14 internationals. That doesn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence from me, especially going up against that rampant 4-3 of Griezmann, Benzema, Mbappe. Can't see them keeping them quiet either. So I do like both teams to score. I've already bet it. The 1-1 outright scoreline as well, correct score, looks decent as well at plus 550. But, for the purpose of a straight bet here and something that I'm personally on tonight, both teams to score minus 125. That's the way I'm playing this one. All
right. Good takes from the guys. And yeah, Kev, I saw that both teams to score. And the first thing I thought before seeing the exact scores is the 1-1 has to be the shortest price. And as you said, it is the shortest price at plus 550. Guys, before we get to the Turkey-Wales game, it's Tuesday. So, of course, it is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo. It's a day where you can get the top capper at each site, one of their plays, whether it is a best bet or a 5% play. You can get it for only $2. At WagerTalk, it is none other than Tony Finn. He has a play up. You can get it for $2. And at Sportsmemo, John Ryan, he's also on a fantastic run, and you can get his play for $2. Within those plays, there are a bunch of different promos for long-term packages and other specials. So pick up those plays, only $2, and pick up on those promos as well too. All right, guys, let's get to this game. This one goes tomorrow, Turkey and Wales. Turkey, I mentioned it. They were part of the kickoff at Stadio Olimpico against Italy on Friday, losing that game 3-0. Really didn't play the way they played during the Euro qualifying. They had a fantastic qualifying, finishing just behind France, and in their 2 meetings with France during the Euro qualifying, they beat them and came away with a draw. So impressive results there in finishing second. I think we see a different Turkey team today. Wales completely outplayed by Switzerland, and yet a late goal, I think in the 74th or 75th minute, to rescue a point in that. I didn't have high expectations from this team coming in. I still don't have high expectations. I think this is a game that Turkey could and should win. But I'm going to get your thoughts, Nick, on this one first.
Listen, you put up a free play video, Carm, on this game, and I think you nailed it on the head with Turkey. I mean, for us that kind of follow these these international teams more than just watching what we're seeing here in this tournament, a casual fan might just look at that game quickly against Italy and just go, "Wow, Turkey sucks," because that's how they certainly looked in that game. But of course, they were playing differently. I mean, Italy is a powerhouse or an attacking side. Turkey made the decision that their best chance to win that game was to sit back and try to hit something on the counter. Worked out for a while, but ultimately, obviously we know how that game ended. I don't see that happening here. I agree with you, Carmen. I think they're going to be coming out on the forefront. Wales, they are a very defensive team by nature, always are. They're always played a low-scoring games. They did what they always seem to do and snuck out a result against the Swiss side, even though they were just really completely outplayed in that game. They were doubled up on shots. Expected goals show 2.19 to 0.43, and yet they still get a result. And if you look at their history, the recent history, I mean, you see that across the board with this Wales team. It's remarkable how they just find a way to, sneak in a draw or a win in these low-scoring type of games. But for Turkey, I think they are the better side. You look back before the Euros started, they had impressive results in the World Cup qualifying this past spring. They won 4-2 over the Netherlands, 3-0 over Norway, and then of course they had a head scratcher of a 3-3 draw against Latvia. They also beat France. If you go back to the Euro qualifiers, 2-0. But they did settle for several other draws in their Nations League group against Russia and Serbia. So they're like a team that gets up and plays pretty well against the big teams, but then has some head scratching and play down a little bit to their competition on other sides. Wales, I already mentioned it. They're a team that just somehow scratches out results. That's really the only thing holding me off here of taking Turkey, because I do think there's value in Turkey, but just because of the overreaction from game one. But Wales just, I don't know. Every time I seem to bet against them, they just do what they do and they cover somehow. In their 20 last games, they've either won or draw 17 of them. England, Belgium, and France, the biggest heavyweights out there, are the only teams that have beaten them against everybody similarly ranked to them as Turkey is, or weaker, of course. They've won or drawn. So I'm going to play myself personally a small stake on the draw in this one. I think it could go back to that 1-1 scoreline, which is also low here, plus 525. I'm seeing for that. But I like the draw, plus 220. I do think Turkey is the better side, but Wales always finds a way.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I feel the same way sometimes about the Wales team. If you go against them, they suck you into that defensive game. And this is why I think Turkey really needs to score first, Kev, in this game. This one's being played at Baku Olympic Stadium in Azerbaijan. I'm not sure what the capacity is for that game, but with fans in there, it's going to be a rocking game for them. And if they can score first, you sort of bring the Wales team out of that shell. They bring that back line up, and you can probably take advantage of them. So I think it's extremely important that Turkey score first in this game to try and take control of it. What are your thoughts, Kev?
Well, I think first off, it is, casual fans might look at this, as Nick said, but it's actually one of the most interesting games, I'd say, the whole midweek slate, because now we're getting such things as kind of goal difference coming into play, and that could be pivotal in this group as well, especially with Turkey sitting at least a full point behind everyone else in the group with that -3 goal difference to boot. So, anything less than a win here for the Turks on Wednesday, and it looks an extremely difficult ask, from that point on to qualify for them ahead of match day 3. I think because of that, I like goals here again. Wales are no doubt a very competent team at the back. They've allowed 1 goal or less to opponents in 18 of the last 21 internationals. Nick said those 3 teams that beat them. And it shows you the kind of job Rob Page has done with that Welsh defence since coming into the setup a couple of years ago under former manager Ryan Giggs. So, while they are good defensively, it's just the fact that Turkey simply need to come out firing here, in my opinion. They can't afford another performance like they put in against Italy on Friday. Playing it safe really isn't an option for them. So I expect them to be on the front foot early here. to create, a lot of opportunities. And, as Nick said as well, remember, this is a Turkish team who put 3 past Croatia, 3 past Norway, 4 past the Netherlands, all in recent months. So they definitely have the capability here to open up Wales, in my opinion. And by that same token, as you said, Carmine, that will then create space for players like Gareth Bale, Daniel James, and so on to run into. So again, similar to the last match, I like both teams to score here. It's plus money. I believe it's around plus 110 right now. So that's the way I'm looking to play this one, both teams to score.
Yeah, I get it. And it's surprising because the total is 2 in this game. I actually think this is one that, and it's obviously based on the fact that Turkey scores first, that we see a game go over that total of 2, which isn't a bad one. Pavlos, I know you're a yellow card guy. I'm going to get your take on the game, but it is going to be, I think, an official from Portugal, Arthur Manuel Soares Diaz, managing the game as far as on the field. His yellow cards. He averages 4.89 yellow cards in Portugal in Champions League this year, 4.5 yellow cards per game in Europa League this year, 5 yellow cards per game. Are you looking at the yellow card market or just the straight out game winner?
Yes, I'm definitely looking at the cards market. I already have Turkey's left back and right back, Meras and Celik. Meras goes at plus 325 to get a card, and Celik goes at plus 275 to get a card. And the reason is this, because Wales, they used to very quick players on the flanks, Gareth Bale and James. So I think they'll create a lot of sides, a lot of opportunities. They'll try to create a lot of opportunities down the flanks. Just like I said about the previous match between France and Germany, Wales, I think that they'll try to attack both flanks, and the Turkish defense is going to be very, they might try to kick themselves out of a tough spot. So I really like those 2 guys to be carded. Also, I like the over 3.5 cards. I see it right now at DraftKings is at minus 108, which is really doable for a match like this. Because Turkey, they just need a win here, because they know that even a draw point might not be enough with 1-1 match to play. So I think we'll see a physical match between the 2 sides. Wales, they only got 1 card in the opener, while the Turkey got just 2 cards at the end of the match, and I expect that to change. I expect a much more passionate game between the 2 sides, and I think we'll see cards. Now, as far as goals go, I wouldn't be surprised by the under 2 goals. I don't think I'm gonna touch it, but looking at Wales, I think Nick made some great points on how Wales they play very compact. If you look at their matches, they have a lot of wins by 1-0, some losses by 1-0, a lot of goalless draws or something like that. So these 2 teams, they always play very carefully at the back. Of course, there are some points where Turkey, where they exploded up front and they scored multiple goals against good teams too. So I think I'll stay with the card props here, and also look out for Burak Yilmaz to score. He's at plus 225 to score anytime. I get this line from DraftKings. So that's how I'm looking at this.
All right. There you have it. Pavlo's take on this. If you want to find out other takes from the guys on the show and myself on this tournament, you can still download the Euro 2020 preview guide over at WagerTalk.com. You can head over to my page at WagerTalk.com, and on the right side in the download section, you can download the Euro 2020 guide. It has previews, predictions, what we think happens in the group stages, power rankings, and games of interest. 21 pages along with the schedule. Absolutely free, guys. Just head over to WagerTalk.com and you can pick that up. All right, final game, guys, and this is a big one in Copenhagen. Belgium versus Denmark. The line here is Denmark plus 280. The draw is plus 240. Belgium is even money plus 100. The goal line is, again, 2.25 goals. We're seeing that number along many of the games in this tournament thus far. That's a split line of 2.5. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. But listen, before I do, we know what happened, obviously, in that game with Denmark, the unfortunate event with Christian Eriksen, a long delay, players going back. Obviously, UEFA came out with a couple different versions of what went on, saying that they left it up to the players. The Finland team announced that they were going to do whatever Denmark wanted to do. If Denmark wanted to play the next day at noon, they would play the next day at noon and continue on from the 40-minute mark onwards. If they wanted to play that day, they would come back and play that day. The Denmark team decided to come back and play after a FaceTime call from Christian Eriksen saying he's fine and he wanted the team to play. It's since come out. All the players, managers, everyone, pretty much everyone on that Denmark team say they made a mistake coming back onto that field. You can tell they weren't in the game from that 40-minute onwards in that game. They probably should have come back the next day. They didn't have to play until this Thursday game. They would have had 3 days off. It actually benefited them more than it would have Finland, who have to play on Wednesday, and they would have had a couple of days off. But they were basically saying whatever whatever Denmark wants to do, they would have done. With that said, this is a big game, Kev. Belgium controls their own fate with 3 points, and the fact that Finland won that game. A draw here, and I'm not saying they're going for a draw. Obviously, a win pretty much gives them this group. A draw still puts them in the driver's seat, playing their final game against the Finland team. So give me your thoughts on this game.
Well, as you said, there's just so many intangible factors ahead of this game. It is a tricky one to read. If everything was even, I think Denmark catching a half-goal head start, especially here at Copenhagen, would be tempting. But as it is, we're not just sure if Denmark are even mentally ready for this game. I myself have heard several different reports. The word is the players were told to avoid media obligations. Mental health specialists were sent in. Peter Schmeichel, the father of the goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel, was saying, he was blaming UEFA. He said the players were forced into playing that game. So, it's a really tricky game. I like Denmark as a team. I thought they were actually dark horses for this competition at the start. I stuck a 1% play on them. I believe it was 28-1 at the start of this tournament. They have quality players. They're incredibly well organized, especially at the back. But, it's just a factor. Now, how can you even contemplate laying money on them under this current environment? By the same token, can't even fade them here. It's not like I'm talking about, Bell now also. And the fact that they lost to group winners Finland at home in their opening game, that may well end up galvanizing this Denmark team to kick on. So I just don't want any part of any side here. And the play I actually much prefer is Lukaku to score anytime plus 110. I prefer that than either side in this one. The Inter front man, he's now scored 22 goals in his last 19 international appearances for Belgium. That's a pretty insane run, as he's just been in red-hot form, ever since pretty much the 2018 World Cup. And this series between Denmark and Belgium has actually averaged a pretty colossal 3.47 goals per game over their last 15 head-to-heads as well. So if there's goals in this one, at least historically there was, it's liable Lukaku is going to be involved at some point. So yeah, that's the way I'd look on this one. Lukaku to score anytime plus 110 for me on Thursday.
And I hope you hit that, because I have, and my clients have, as one of the prop bets that I released before the tournament started, Lukaku to win the top scorer in this tournament at plus 750. So he's got a couple. I'm hoping he can pick up a couple more. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next on this one. It's a tough game, but it's also one where Denmark not only I don't think they can't afford to lose this game first and foremost, but if they do, it can't be a big score line either, because they're going to hope to salvage something in that final game that they have, and they're going to need a win in that final game, and then hope to hold on as one of the best four third place finishers, which I think at this point right now is what they're probably looking at.
Yeah, I agree. The thing with Denmark is that even after all that happened in that first match, they did actually get a penalty kick, and if Eriksson was in there, I'm most certainly he would have scored. So I don't know. It was just a terrible match to watch. You guys made some excellent points about it's probably UEFA that forced them to play, and also about their mental state. Maybe things are a little better, but the fact that Kevin mentioned the fact that they're hiring professionals to help the players, psychologically, it's just too worrisome for me to back Denmark. And I was really high on Denmark. I also said in previous editions of Stoppage Time that I really like this team. They're like a poor man's Belgium, if you like, and they still have a great roster. But the absence of Eriksson is really, really a bad. It creates a gap between the midfield and the offense. A gap that was exactly. It was that space was filled by Eriksson for many years, and they don't have a player like this. They can't fill that gap so easily, and I don't think that they can take anything from their match against Belgium. Maybe they'll get a draw, but I simply don't I don't see that right now. Belgium, on the other hand, I didn't really like what they did against Russia, but they were also shocked because a lot of players at the Belgium side are either current teammates of Eriksson or they just know him from other teams. So they were also shocked. I don't think we should take the results of game day of the first game day. I think we should take them with a grain of salt. I think teams will adjust and play much better. I hope that Denmark will play much better, and maybe backing Denmark with half a goal could be value here, but I don't want to stay. I don't want to pick a side here. I mean, it's just too weird of a match to look at. Maybe the over 2.25 goals, because Denmark in the in the wake of Christian Eriksen's injury, I think sometimes these situations they can go either way. They can destroy a team or they can make them better, and maybe they can be better. But what do I mean by this? Maybe they'll be competitive, and by competitive I mean maybe they'll score a goal or two. The thing is that I have this correct score stuck in my head for many days, and it's Belgium to win by 2-1, and the odds are a bit too high. I think it's like plus 900, I think, and I really love that. I really love that. I don't know how the match will go, but I think I'll have a small stake bet on the 2-1 correct score in favor of Belgium.
All right, Nick, I'm going to give you the final word on this. You know, when he's talking about some correct scores, and once again in this game, the lowest price in the exact score markets is the 1-1 draw at plus 550. After that, it is Belgium 1-0 at plus 600. Not a lot of goals expected in this one, and it's one of those things whether you have to take a stance on whether you think that injury, and now that they've had a few days off and they know he's fine, whether that galvanizes the team and their Euros start in earnest in this game, or if they go the way of let's say Germany in the 2018 World Cup, where they lost that 1-0 game to Mexico and never really recovered from that, and it was a disappointing tournament, obviously for different reasons back then than what is happening to Denmark right now.
Listen, these two Sallies chickened out and wouldn't pick a side, but I will. Red Devils. Denmark, obviously you guys talked about it. Eriksson out, key component to that midfield. What about De Bruyne? Likely back in for this match. He's back training with the team, and he's a game changer. We talked about it a million times of him in the middle of that field. Going back to the Nations League this fall, 4-2 Belgium at home, 2-0 in Copenhagen. And the thing about the first matches that really struck me and just continues to be a big factor for me in this type of a tournament is just when you get the ball in a place to score, what do you do with it? And Lukaku, Kevin mentioned as an anytime goal scorer, great bet. I mean, the guy had 2 touches in that game. 2. Both were in the net. Belgium are clinical in front of the goal. Denmark showed they are not. I mean, 23 shots, couldn't get anything in there. I don't care what the expected goals say. You got to be able to put it away. And Belgium, with all that talent, usually is a team that's going to beat expected goals because that's what the best players in the world get paid to do: score goals when other players probably don't. And they have a lineup full of those guys. So I think that there's value in the plus price of Belgium here. I'm not going to overthink it. I don't, yes, there's all the backstory of what happened and motivation, blah, 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 blah. But if I just stick to the play on the field and the players on that field, I think Belgium win this game more often than not. And a plus price to me screams pretty good value.
All right, there you have it. Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. He has a 5% play up today, as does Kevin Dolan for today. And then, of course, Pavlos Laguretos has a 5% play up for tomorrow. You can get those plays over at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo, or you can use coupon code Italy40 and get $40 off their complete Euro 2020 tournament packages. That package is $199, get $40 off, so $159, and you'll get every tournament play. And they've included their Copa America plays and Gold Cup plays that are coming up. So there are a ton of tournament plays that you can get and prop bets from those guys. It's such a great deal. Pick those up at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo. Guys, that's it for today's show. We'll be back on Thursday, 10 a.m. We're going to cover 3 big games that go on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, including England, Scotland, and we'll likely do Spain and Poland. Also, there's Germany and Portugal playing on the weekend. Just a ton of games. We'll cover 3 of the best games on Thursday's show. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and always good luck with your wagers.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.